Here we are. That's right. Welcome to another day. It is May 4th. May the 4th be with you. There's almost like a tongue twister in there. May the 4th be with you. So, there is let's see. This might be it. Nope, it's not. It's the wife. Good afternoon to you, my honey. So, there is a post. There's a group page on Facebook that asks for guests. And it's just checking to see if anything has come through on that one. There we go. That would be it. Nah, it's not. Oh well. What are you gonna do? We'll poke at that one every once in a while. But so it's need a guest. We discussed this too, right? If you're doing a podcast, and we could stay in here today. There's like so many things going on. I am like just flat out in way too many directions at the moment over here. And to thinking I got an early start on the day also. Got to get it together. Definitely got to get it together. So there is a Facebook page that says need a guest, need a guest. Yeah, need a guest. So if you're a host of a podcast, Hanks, doing what we're doing over here, and you want to get a guest, hey, you put your podcast information up over there or podcast up over there, whatever you want to say or whatever it is. It's like, okay, looking for a guest. This guy put a post up and said, hey, I want to practice my guest skills. Anybody interested? Now, in all fairness to him, he put this up about 40 minutes ago. And I could poke over there to see that if he's responded to anything there. But he put this up about 40 minutes ago. So I was like, okay, you want to be a guest? Be a guest. Why don't you come join me and and do that? I said, if you're interested, send me a link. Send me your email, and I am more than happy to have you on. What do I know about him? Absolutely nothing. So I figured that would kind of help me practice my interviewing skills, also. So here we go. Need a guest. Let's see if he's done anything. And nope. So far, I'm the only one who commented on that. So he puts in here, looking to test my guest skills. Anyone need a guest? I'm happy to jump on and shoot the whatever. Let's go. Well, I wrote, Dave, I go live in 13 minutes on StreamYard. Want to join me? Do that. And then I had 3 minutes to go. I posted again, and I don't see him. So now I like the post. Maybe he'll see it. I'm happy to have him come on in the middle of this thing. Let me just go here. We go to invite, copy to clipboard, copy. Should I just post it publicly and we'll see who comes on? Why not? All right. Here is the link. Join at any time. And I'll tell you a story about that one. We didn't copy the link. StreamYard. Copy to clipboard, copy. All right, there we go. Can't make it any more obvious. We'll go back over here. That'll take care of that. As that goes, let's get rid of that. Share. So I also wanted to share some commercials today. That didn't work out as well as I hope. Mr. Fenster, good afternoon to you. Always pleasure seeing you. One of these days, see you in person at some point in time. That HIA trade show is coming up May 26th. Strictly Business tomorrow. If you're out there for those things, I definitely plan on stopping in. Actually, plan on stopping in at both of those events. So this goes back, way back. Blog Talk Radio. That was only audio, right? It was a website, blogtalkradio.com, still in existence, still set up, free to use, or you could pay. If you pay, then you can run commercials. You can actually get paid on the whole thing and doing it that way. Whatever suits your fancy on that one. It's only audio, though. It's no video. It's only audio. I wanted to move over to doing video, and I did that. But I did the Blog Talk Radio for it was 5 years, maybe even a little bit longer than that. And I did it on a weekly basis, every week. And it was a whole lot of fun to go and do. But my goal on that one was very similar to this guy's goal, and that is to bring in to practice my interviewing skills. So I did that. And I would just look to invite people on or ask them if they wanted to come on without really knowing too much about them. Michael was a guest in 2016. It was that long ago, Mike. Unbelievable. I should go find it. I'll find it because it's still available, by the way. And, so I would interview Michael, I knew, but I would also interview some folks that I didn't know. And it was so cool, because it gave me the chance to improve upon my interviewing skills. Never believed, and even at that point in time, I didn't have an intake sheet or anything like that. The only thing I really wanted to know from them was, what is your message? What message do you want to deliver? And when I found these folks on LinkedIn, it was pretty clear as to what their message was. Oh, and it should have been clear. And if it wasn't that clear, I probably didn't invite them on. But it was pretty clear. It's what it was. And I had asked them just before coming on. I tell them to come on at 5 minutes in front of the hour. Did it from 12 to 12:30, about 5 minutes in advance, just for a few minutes chat, just so I knew they were there, and went with the whole thing. And like most of the time, they didn't care. They just didn't care. And I shouldn't say it is that they didn't care. They did care. But they were that confident that they knew what they really wanted to talk about. And Michael wanted to talk about perseverance. There it is. Perseverance by Mr. Michael Fenster. I remember that, Mike. That was definitely a long time ago, but a lot of fun to do. But those folks would come on, and the ones that agreed, again, Mike, I knew, but the ones that agreed to do it that I didn't know were very confident in themselves, and it came through. It really came through. So what this other guy, Dave, wrote about being a guest and practicing his guest skills, there's a lot to it. There really is a lot to it. I've been helping a few people get on some other shows from time to time. And one of the things I do to assist them to being a good guest, not having a good story, being a good guest, is to give them some insight into the host and let them know how that host operates. And that's really important. It is unbelievably important. Because look, if you were, there you go. If I have you on as a guest over here, right? And it's a 5-minute interview. Or if I have you on as a guest over here and it's a 30-minute interview, or there's 2 guests, not just one, all that stuff impacts one very, very important thing: how long you respond for. Your story is your story, what message you want to deliver, all the rest of that kind of stuff, your experience, it's all you, without a doubt. But what's not all you, and actually what is not you at all, is the show format. The show format is the show format. God, I've listened to a bunch of shows, and when the guest goes on too long for that format, it's just not good. I've had a guest on, and I would give this guest all the credibility in the world. I had a guest on, Carol Baldwin. Wasn't you, Michael? It was not you. All right. Oh, we can take that off. We'll leave it on there. Perseverance is the key to success, is it not? Yes, it is. You're right, that Michael. Perseverance is the key to success. It's not anything more than just keep going no matter what. Just keep on going as long as you're here. So today's guest, it was Carol Baldwin. I will name names in this case. Carol Baldwin, she was representing, would you believe, the Baldwin Foundation. We were doing a charity event for her. And so she comes on. I spoke to her sister, and she told me about Carol and stuff like that. She kind of knew about that whole thing. So it was a half-hour show, and I did the intro, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever it was on that one, and then I asked Carol to explain the foundation. 12 minutes later, 12 minutes later, she gets done. All right. Now, if your name is not Carol Baldwin, don't do that. Don't do that. And maybe she's probably done more speeches than perhaps interviews. Or if she's interviewed by a reporter who would love a 12-minute, a reporter that's writing an article. Look, I mean, that's great. I ask you one question and I'm going to write an article about it. And you go on for 12 minutes and give me the history of the foundation, the history of your own cancer is what she did, the history of some of the funnies along the way. And yes, there are funnies along the way. And when she mentions that she's the funny one in the Baldwin family, not anybody else. She's the one that inspired everybody else. You just let her go. And I did. I just absolutely I sat there as quiet as can be. Yes, it's possible. I could sit there as quiet as can be and let her respond. And I had a ball listening to the whole thing. I truly did. Let me go see if this guy's there. But if you are, if you are coming on now, and let's see if he's there. We are back. No, but if you are going to be a guest on somebody's show and you want to be a good guest, there's definitely some homework that you need to do. So I give that guy a lot of credit for doing it, even though he didn't make it on. I'll go find him and bust his chops about, oh, you want to be a guest? Where are you? Where are you? That kind of thing. So here's the scoop, right? 30-minute show. How long should the intro be? Pretty quick. Generally speaking, pretty quick. 30 seconds, minutes, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer if you need to explain it out a little bit. You want to give your guest credibility. Why should your people listen to him? Does the person have any is there any reason for your guest to go and listen, your audience to go and listen to your guest? That's got to be established. The excitement level of it's got to be established. The suspense of it. Got a friend of mine does such an unbelievable job with his intros. Tim Healy does it on his program. Just really, really really great stuff as to what he does. And so you got that intro going on over there. And then the guest comes on. Now, the guest, and it's really important, folks, go and listen to some of the prior shows that program does. And then you'll get a better understanding of what that host is looking for in your responses. Some of that will actually be the intake sheet that you get will actually be a clear indication of that also. And also what it is that person does, the host does in preparation for the show. All of that will give you a clear indication as to how you should be a good guest. And you want to be a good guest. Because let me tell you, if you're a good guest on someone's program, they're going to highlight that show. If you stink, they're going to make the thing go, yeah, maybe it's a live broadcast. Like I do it live. So it's live. Yeah, it's live at 1, Kurt, without a doubt. Every day we're at 1 o'clock where we do this thing. Right? Every once in a while we do a rebroadcast, but it's live. So that's live. Good guest, bad guest, whatever it is, that's live. Was I taking a shot at having him on? Without a doubt. He had no information. I looked at his profile. There was nothing. Nothing. No contact, no phone, no email, no website, no nothing. He wants to practice being a guest. What he put on a prior quote had to do with steroids and sports, but the background of his picture was a picture of a band. I have no idea what he really wanted to talk about. So it would have been quite an interesting conversation as we went through the whole thing. But you should listen to the host's prior show. See how they ask questions. Is it like 20 questions, right? So is there a format that goes along with it? And every once in a while, Terrence Siafi does a show with Norman Wasserman. They always ask why. Did you expect to be doing what you're doing today, when you were much younger and things like that? Always asking for contact information. You should have your contact information, of course, but there's a format that goes along with that. If the host sends you an intake form and it's 1 page, that's an indication of where they're at. Look, when I asked those guests to be on the Blog Talk Show and I wanted to know what their message was, that was the only question I really asked. Well, that should tell you as a guest that it's pretty much a free format and it's a flow of conversation. If I sent out a intake sheet that was an intake booklet that asked 20 questions or had you submit to me talking points, questions, things like that, well, now you know something else. Now you're being interviewed, truly interviewed, not a discussion about what it is that you're doing. Again, different format. If you're not asked those questions, you should really be prepared overall to give the guest, give the host, and this is like steering a conversation. It's kind of fun. Um, Another story that goes longer, and I got to find this one. Jay Oliver. Jay Oliver does the LI News radio program in the morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And he has guests on, and without a doubt, many reports the news and all the rest of that kind of stuff. So it was actually at a HIA trade show that I met him. I, met him in person, met him, and we were able to arrange an interview. I did, and da 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 da. And then afterwards, he came back over to me. He's like, how would you like to do the sports, on the show? I couldn't do the sports. I don't know sports. I can't do it. I don't talk baseball. He talks baseball. You need to know it from the inside out and all the rest of that. I couldn't do it. I immediately, on my first glance, I said yes, and then I called him back like an hour later. I was like, I can't do it. It's one thing to be a reflection of me and screw up. It's another thing to be a reflection of somebody else and screw up. So I wasn't going to do that to him. Okay, that's the setup for the whole thing. Second year, HIA trade show. He interviews me. What do you think he interviews me about? My lack of knowledge of sports. Now, he wants to focus on the fact that I don't know sports. I want to focus on the fact that we're at a trade show and communication skills are super important. He continues to drive the conversation back to sports and my lack of knowledge. I continue to drive the conversation back to being able to deliver a clear message. And I use some of the words that he did in those questions or comments to steer it back the other way. It felt like we were having a bit of a ping pong match. He had the ball and then he put it in a direction, and then I had the ball and I tried to move it in a different direction. It was a lot of fun. But ultimately, and this is the point, is that I was trying to steer the conversation, as was he. Very hard to do. But if you're being interviewed by a host that is open to you steering the conversation, that's got to be in line with what the show is. And that thing was just purely for fun. We actually, I had a ball doing that one. It's probably the most fun interview I ever had. It was the most meaningless interview I ever did, but it was the most fun I ever had being interviewed by somebody. I didn't even know how long it was going to be, or anything like that. But if you're being interviewed, if you come on my show over here, or most other people's show, and they don't give you a lot of questions in advance, or even if they do, and they give you the opportunity to do that, you could throw in there keywords. Keywords. Yeah, we use that word keywords again. It's not just an SEO term, right? Keywords. You're going to give them keywords that you're hoping, and again, you don't know because you're not the one asking the questions, but you're going to give them keywords that they might have an interest in and give you a follow-up question with. And now you could use that in order to steer the conversation in a direction that you want to go in. And it's not terribly difficult to do after you get some practice in as being a guest. And it's also not terribly difficult to do after you actually learn what it's like to be a guest, and you don't have to think about that. You don't have to think about that. Now, if you're asking me a question, you're probably going to ask me a follow-up question at this point, all right? What do you mean you don't have to think about that? It's the same as being a public speaker. It's the same as standing in front of an audience. It's the same as delivering an elevator pitch someplace. It's the same as those intros that you have when you're telling people what it is that you do. And here's what I mean. I mean that when you stand up in front of the room, and if you're focused on how do I look, is my collar correct? Is, am I buttoned up? Am I not buttoned up? Am I standing straight? Is my glasses up, my hair down, all the rest of that kind of stuff. If you're thinking about that, if you're thinking about, well, should I stand a little bit closer to the edge of the stage, further back? How far away from that microphone am I? Should it be here or should it be here? It all depends on the kind of microphone, by the way. If you're thinking about all of those things, what are you not thinking about? The audience. Now, if you're a guest on someone's show and you're thinking about, I just want to check to see if this coming in. If you're thinking about, no, if you're thinking about how long of a response you should be giving, if you're thinking about what the next question is that's coming up because you gave the host a series of questions and you want to be able to respond to those questions, you know what you're not doing? You're not paying attention to the conversation. And if you could really pay attention to that conversation, just like if you're paying attention to the conversation when you're on stage with that audience, it all is a distraction. Now let's talk about brain power. I've got a limited amount of brain power. Nobody comment on that one, please. Let's just take it easy on that comment. But it's true. I have a limited amount of brain power, as we all do. If I have to sit on that stage, stand on that stage, and think about all of these things, how much time do I have left? Was it a good opening? Am I getting ready for the close? Am I dressed properly, et cetera, et cetera? Or if I'm sitting there and I'm being interviewed by somebody and like, I'm not too sure how long this interview is going to be for. What questions are they going to ask me? You know, do I sound okay? Am I close enough to the microphone? What else is going on in the room? Hey, is there somebody there taking a photo of me? Just what else is happening? And what is my message? How am I going to end this thing? If you're thinking about all of those things, you're not paying attention to the audience. And your audience, when you're doing a radio show, is the host. And if you're on stage, obviously the audience is the audience, the people that you are speaking to. And in this case, the audience is you, you know, that's out there. And you're not going to be in the moment. And that is the key to it all. It really is. All these other things are a distraction. You must get away from all these other things that are a distraction. You want to put that in a business sense? Okay. Same thing. You walk into your office in the morning and your desk is a mess. That's a distraction. When do you get the most work done? When your desk is cleaned, when you have a know exactly when you're going to be leaving. That's why we get more things done. If we know we're going to put in a half a day, not a full day, I know I got to get things done. Boom, 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 boom. You operate efficiently. You're totally in the moment. Being totally in the moment when you're being interviewed by somebody is important. So get rid of all those other distractions. Just know it all. Know it. Know it. Don't have to think about it. Just know it. Know that if it's a 30-minute show, it's a 30-minute show. You want to get a little bit more comfortable? Put a clock up behind you or behind the camera or something not behind you, but actually in front of you. Put a clock up. Clock. No noise. Just a clock. This way you know how much time is left. Ask the host. I've been interviewed by Tim and a number of other folks across the board. Hey, do you do commercials? Do you take a break? If you don't know this stuff, that's not good. You should know it. You don't want to be caught by surprise on those things. And the host is happy to tell you it's better for the show. For them, they want to leave on a clip. You know, leave each segment or end each segment with some sort of a cliffhanger. Like, I want to stop playing commercials in here, right? And it's a half-hour show, and half-hour show is a long time. You know, that's it. But if I have a 15-minute break, at 15 minutes, I take a break for a commercial. Am I going to lose you? Very possible. Are you going to stay for the commercials? Well, I know Kurt's going to stay for his commercial. For running an ad for him, he certainly will. And some of the others, I'm going to try to figure out how to actually, get that done. I'm going to persevere on that one, Michael. We can get rid of this at this point. But yeah, without a doubt, perseverance works, in that respect. There's Kurt. Hey, Kurt, put your contact information up on the website. That's fine. I'll post it up there for you. So I want to end on I want to do that break, some sort of a cliffhanger in there. So I want to ask a good question and hold the guest back from actually answering that question. Now, if you don't know I'm going to take a break, you might start answering that question. Now I got to say, hey, no, don't answer it. We're going to take a break. And that's kind of awkward. It'd be better if it was smooth. It makes for you to be a better guest. Be a better guest. So know all of those things. Know how much time you got. Know and See what you could learn from that intake sheet. And if you have questions, speak to the host in advance of the show. Don't wait for the last minute. Send an email, send a text, whatever you're communicating with that person, and ask those questions and make it happen. And if you want to just get some practice in, go, go to that Facebook group page. Need a guest. These are all people with all different kinds of podcasts, and most of them seem to be podcasts. So there's no camera involved in this thing. It's just probably calling. You don't have to be in a studio or anything like that. Just calling. Hey, Doug, good to see you, my friend. And you just call in and practice. Look, you'll be on their show. If they share it and they send it out to everybody, hey, you're on the show. If you really like it, hey, you want to know something? On all your websites, you have an About Me or About Us page, but you also should have a media page. Media page. Why? A couple of things. One, it shows that you are, it builds your perceived expertise, hopefully real expertise, but it builds up your perceived expertise, builds your brand. We're going to be talking more about that, but it builds your brand. People get a clearer picture of what it is. They're going to listen to it. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Reality is, it doesn't matter. Your folks are your folks, so they see this thing, so they know it. Somebody that's looking into seeing who you are as a person, well, you want to know something? They may just listen to it. And of course, the important people, the really, truly important people from a business building standpoint, the really, truly important people to listen to that podcast are going to be your host's audience. They don't know you. That's your chance to be seen and heard by so many other people. Is it important to be a good guest? Absolutely. Absolutely is. And I can tell you, your ability to be a good guest will add to your credibility in whatever it is that you do. If you ramble on, you ramble on. That's not a good thing. If you're clear and concise in your responses, you want to know something? Your guests will appreciate that. And if they have a follow-up question with it, they will. If you throw in a little bit of a keyword in there, something that they may or may not understand, they'll follow up with it right then and there. And then you'll be able to go into more detail of it. So think about that. If you're looking to give a long response to something and it's a short response type show, give you short response, throwing out word that may generate a follow-up question, and now you would now have the ability for a long response just broken up into two things. But some hosts really want to ask a lot of questions, and they really want to be a part of the conversation. They don't want you to just take over the 30 minutes. They ask two questions, you speak for 30 minutes and it's done. Most hosts, they want to be involved. So give them the opportunity to do that, but give them the opportunity to ask a follow-up question, and you'll come across as a really good guest. They'll really appreciate it. You'll be brilliant. And then you have the ability to do a couple of different things. One, you can then you speak to the host, see if you can do this. You edit out 60 seconds, give the guest credit, let them ask the question, the whole thing, put that up on your website as a little spot. You can make yourself a little TikTok, Instagram, whatever, put it up on your website, wherever you put it, and make it work that way. That host will be more than likely to share it because you were good. Adds to your credibility, adds to your brand, adds to the excitement of people wanting to follow you. That is important. All right, I got a few seconds left over here. Tomorrow would be May 5th. May 5th, Cinco de Mayo is going to be the Strictly Business Trade Show. Be popping up over there to say hello. That's at the Miller Business Center and the Center Reach Library. It goes from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Just go. It's outside. Hopefully the weather cooperates. Be a nice day for that one. May 26th, HIA Trade Show. There is the Manufacturing Committee. Got big things going on. That's going to be a bit of a job fair in there also. So the manufacturers are looking to hire. If you're looking for a position, show up with a resume. make that work. You got to register. It's free to walk the floor if you register in advance. Otherwise, it's $10 if you walk in and do that. Remember, the manufacturers are looking to hire, not everybody there. So it still is a trade show. It's not a job fair. And find the mix on that whole thing. All right, there we go. We're over 30 minutes. I'm out of here. And remember what you should do. As always, my friends, as always, speak well, speak often, and live inspired. You just may inspire somebody else to do exactly the same thing. Let's go back to that photo. Love that photo. George, Dennis, and myself. All good stuff.